everyone, Joshua Short with you. Something extra today, but we don't have my partner with me. Lauren Moss is not here. She is actually away for the weekend. She will be back next week. But look, we've had a lot to talk about this week. Not necessarily good news either, and that's the sad part. So we're thinking about, first off, so many of the people impacted by that bad crash that took place in LaPorte County. We're thinking about all of them today. We're thinking about all the families and first responders as well. So I just wanted to start with that. Our hearts are open. We're journalists, but we're people first, and so we're thinking about them. We did have some good news as well regarding the election surrounding the Pope. Man, what history. From Chicago. Who would have put that on their bingo card? I did not have that on my bingo card, but that is something that we're also following. Lauren Moss will be back next week, and we're going to have a podcast dedicated to the papacy. So we're going to talk about the Pope next week. Do not worry. We are not ignoring that story. It's a big story to us here, especially in South Bend, Indiana. Okay. Today, we've got a lot to talk about. We've got someone in-house with me right now. We have a guest who decided to come to the WNDU studios to sit with me to talk about her book. But I got to give you a little bit of background first. This book, and she's going to talk a little bit more about it, is about real-life events that she herself experienced. And it is a riveting read, and it is something that a lot of people, a lot of our listeners and watchers out there, I think will really enjoy. I really believe so. And I say enjoy because it's going to teach them some lessons, life lessons at that. And so with that, without further ado, I want to bring in my friend, LaQuita Lockhart, into the podcast, Something Extra, joining us now. Hello, LaQuita.
Hi, Josh. How are you?
I'm doing well. It is so good to see you. It is so good to be with you as well. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Look, let me take a step back because I want people to know I operate my own Facebook page, okay? And I think people think it's somebody else. I operate that page, Joshua Short TV, and it all started with the message. And I get a lot of messages. I get a lot of mentions, and that's not me bragging. It's just the facts. It's just how we are here in social media and digital, right? And you sent me a message.
I did. Can
you tell people what that message was about? Can you share that?
So, essentially, I wanted to reach out to see if the news station still had my story, my near-death experience that happened, oh my goodness, 17, almost 18 years ago, involving me and a river rescue. And because of that, I wrote a book in regards to that matter and that incident that happened in my life. And I know a lot of people remember that story. They may or may not, but of course I do. So like I said, I'm writing a book about it, and I reached out because I wanted to get it out there because I know people have probably forgotten about it, and I just wanted to bring it back out so people remember who I am. And my son, who at the time was unborn, he was inside of me, and I was 8 months pregnant at the time. No. And so I decided to reach out to see if you guys still have that story in the archives, and to also put out there that I'm writing a book about that.
So you mentioned this book, you talk about the book, and that was the first time we ever had a conversation about your book.
Correct.
This is something that excited me because I'm like, well, if national news covered it, we also covered it. And of course, we were there. And I want to show some of the video, and I'm going to do that right now because the video is pretty remarkable. You're seeing this video for the first time. Take me through what you're seeing right now.
Oh, man. Wow. It's been, oh my goodness, like I said, 17, almost 18 years since my car went into the St. Joe River. And that's literally where it happened, right there. I was on my way home from working. I was a warehouse manager at the Northern Indiana Food Bank. I was 8 months pregnant, and I was on my way home. And I had just finished a conversation with my mom, and I was in the left-bound lane going towards the Emporium, off to the Century Center, off to the side of the Century Center, and a gentleman in a gray Intrepid veered like he was coming towards my lane, and I didn't even think about it. I just veered over, not knowing that I was headed into oncoming traffic and I was going down into the river. So I didn't even think about that.
So you were going away, in essence, away from downtown.
Yes.
On was that Jefferson?
Yes.
And you were avoiding a head-on collision, and that's when you lost control of your car.
He was getting ready to sideswipe me, so he was coming from the right lane into my left lane.
Got it. So he was right next to you going the same direction.
Correct, yes.
And that's how all this started.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Take me to that moment when you're seeing that video, when you see these pictures of you being rescued. What goes through your mind?
I mean, I'm actually really sitting here looking at this and fighting back tears, but it's a blessing that I was even able to survive that, because if you ever look at the history of the St. Joe River, nobody has ever survived the St. Joe River. So I know that was nothing but a blessing and a purpose for my life. Just looking at that, just holding back tears, looking at how far I've come since then, and it's just incredible.
You were 8 months pregnant.
Correct. I was.
How's your child doing?
He later on in life, he was born healthy. I was in labor for 2 days because of everything that had happened with the accident. I had to go through a lot with that pregnancy after that 8-month mark. And I had preeclampsia, so it's when protein is spilling over in your urine, your blood pressure is extremely high, you're swollen all over. So I'm trying to heal from the accident, also still trying to carry a healthy baby whose gender at that time was unknown. When my son was 8 years old, he was diagnosed with autism. I blamed myself for a very long time because of the accident. I thought that it was something that I did. But my son is healthy and thriving. He is 17 years old. He's a junior at Riley. We were prepping for his graduation for next year. Oh. And it's just, him and I talk about the article. We don't talk about it as much yet. Because I don't want to put that, trauma on him as he's getting ready to embark into the next level of his life. But I will go more in depth as he gets older. But
his mom is an author now. What is his thoughts about that?
He thinks that it's pretty cool because he's getting ready to write his own book as well, from autism to authorship. That is still in the works right now. He actually inspired me to write this book because with him, he doesn't let anything bother him. He doesn't let the naysayers say anything about him. So I said, if my son, who is 17 years old, can do it, me as his mom can do it as well. So he doesn't know that he inspired me to write this book. My daughter has read the manuscript. She is just floored. She's like, oh my gosh, Mom, I didn't know that this happened to you. I didn't know you felt this way. I didn't know all of this happened. So for years, I kept that, as a secret. They knew bits and pieces, but they never knew the entirety of that day.
So this is the first time your children are finding out the specifics from that day of what happened in 2006 or 7?
2007, December 12th of 2007.
And they are just now seeing the true, real, raw story of what took place.
Yes, because they had, I suffered from PTSD, still do every now and then, especially when driving around that area. But they had to live with the aftermath of what happened.
Can you drive around that area right now? And if you do, what happens?
I do. I get a little anxious. I get a little nervous. But with therapy, exposure therapy, I'm learning how to know that I'm safe. That's not going to happen again. That I'm going to be okay. So we're doing techniques, exposure therapy. So I'm getting better.
You've gotten a lot of help. You didn't just let this ride off. You're getting help too, it sounds like.
Oh yes, because it took 17 years to get the help. Because of living and growing and having a family and pursuing different opportunities, avenues in life, I kind of put that on the back burner. But it started to affect me more the older I got. So I decided 3-4 years ago that hey, I need to get some help to deal with this because PTSD is real. Also, a lot of people didn't know that I had it. They just knew that something was different about me. And so I decided to take that step to get the help because mental health is, such a stigma. And May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So I think that this is a perfect time to push this book that also talks about healing and mental health issues, especially in women and women who are mothers, especially if you're a single parent like myself. So I feel that this is a perfect time to release this book. This is
the perfect time to talk about this too. And I appreciate you choosing us to talk about it. I don't know why you chose me. I'm lucky and I'm honored to sit here and even talk to you about that. Let me tell you a little bit about what happened on my end. So you told me the story and I said, okay, let me look it up. And there's one article that I found on it. I didn't find, because sometimes with Google, things are weird. Like you have to look up things a certain way.
Yes.
I only saw one article, but the one article I saw was a local paper.
Yes.
And it mentioned something that had happened involving a pregnant mother, and it said 2007. I said, okay, the year matches up the story, but I need to see if we have video. And I asked my team if it sounded familiar. And members of my team said, no, it doesn't, but also they can't remember yesterday, right? And so we were trying to figure that out. And long story short, I asked my chief photographer. He says, we can look and see if there's video. We found a script, which means there's video, and we were able to find the tape. And that's a video that you just saw there. And he actually shot it. He doesn't remember. My chief photographer was there all those years ago. And he said, I remember this. He says it was scary because we didn't know if there was, any survivors at first initially, and they got there and realized you were okay. But that's the thing I guess I want to talk about in the video that you see, and I'm showing this video for our listeners right now. This video here, can you talk about those first responders? Have you met any of them since that day? Have you seen any of them since? What do you want to say to them?
There was, I think she was a fire chief. I can't remember her name, but if I saw her face, I would know. That's her right there in the orange vest.
Wow.
With the sunglasses. And I see her every now and again at Martin's on 23.
If I said her name, would you remember?
Oh, no.
Okay, because she's familiar.
Right there.
Yeah,
she's right there. That's her. And I see her.
I believe, and I could be wrong, that could be Susie Krill.
That name sounds familiar, but I remember her, and I see her when I'm at Martin's like I said, on South Bend Avenue, and I say, hey, I'm the one that you rescued from the river. She goes, oh my gosh. And so, she asked, hey, how are you? And I just always thank her for that day. Because as you can see, I lost a shoe, and I talk about that in the book, because anybody who knows me knows that I am a sneakerhead. I love shoes, and I lost my shoe in that crash. And I lost my purse, and I lost my identity, and I talk about all that in the book. And the only thing that I had on me was a tattoo of my name, a library card, and I had to go and take my mom everywhere to vouch for me, saying, yes, this is my daughter. I had to get everything, birth certificates, because I was planning for a baby shower as well. So I had,
everything was in your car.
Yeah, gift cards, money. Oh my goodness, everything was in my purse, and it was gone. So essentially, I was a stranger.
Wow.
And then, I talk about in my book about being reborn again. And this, how you have to start over. Even though you know who you are, people don't know who you are without identification. So that is a big thing I talk about in my book as well.
Talk about your faith. Talk about how you've leaned on your faith. You're wearing a cross right now around your neck. Talk about how that has gotten you through these 16, 17, nearly 20 years now.
Oh, my faith is huge to me. I was telling my pastor that when we were writing this book, she did assist me on writing this book. And that car crash was the first time I heard God's voice, and he gave me the direction on how to get out of the car, how to, float down the river, how to position myself correctly. The branch that saved my life. Which is
the title of the book?
Yeah, The Branch of Life. And that's the cover of the book it's not me per se, but it's a symbol of me, the branch, the water, my vehicle, everything. So that is very symbolic. The cover itself is symbolic. But my faith plays a very big part of me surviving, me becoming who I am, me healing. So my faith is very, very important to me.
The moment that the moment that your car went into the river, the moment that happened, did you think it was over? What was going through your mind?
Well, I had just got off the phone with my mother, and my mother always told me, whenever you are in danger, do not panic. Because when you panic, you lose all sense of direction, you lose all sense of instruction, you lose all sense of everything. So you don't know what to do. So her voice was a voice that I heard, is do not panic. So as I saw myself getting ready to go down the embankment, I took my seatbelt off. I was going to jump out of the car, but everything happened so fast. I mean, the going over the curb, which the marks are still there, going down the embankment, crashing to the fence, the car filling up, me trying to get out, me trying to fight for my life. All of that happened so quick, so I didn't have a chance to even jump out. I considered it, but would that have done more damage to me than simply just staying in the car? But everything happened for a reason.
And look, I know cell phones were around during this time, but did you call police? Did someone else call police? What happened?
So there? It was two runners that was running that was running on the embankment, and they ran. They saw the whole thing, and they were running when it happened. And so as I'm coming up out of the water, and they're walking, like running with me, running next to, there's like a trail, and they're running on that trail trying to throw whatever they can at me. And I'm telling them, hey, I can't swim. And there was another lady, I think her name is Kelly. Kelly, Kellie. She's an African-American woman who was driving, and she was the one who called. And I don't know the two joggers, but I believe they were on lunch, running at the Crow Chisnick. I think that was right across the street. So they were on lunch break when they saw it. So I know that Kelly, I think her name was Kelly Collins, who was the one who called police. And as I'm in the water and I see the branch, I'm holding onto the branch, I hear the sirens in the background. So Kelly was the one, I believe, who called. The joggers were the ones who stayed with me. And then when I got out, they were gone. So that was their sole purpose, was to stay with me until the ambulance got there and the river rescue got there, and then they disappeared.
The story itself is remarkable. Where can people get this book? How can people get this book?
So right now I'm doing pre-sales, and I'm doing Cash App at $, the Branch of Life 25. Also, the book can be purchased if you are out of town at www.jesusgirllive.com. And if you scroll to the bottom of the page, you'll see my book. You can do a pre-sale for there. Also, I have an email, Branch of Life at outlook.com, or the Branch of Life at outlook.com. If you want me to do speaking engagements,
or bookings or anything like that.
Okay. Also, too, on May 31st, from 11 to 1 at the South Bend Library, Classroom A, I will be doing the pickups for the book. I will do signings. I will sign the book. You can also come and get a copy of the book there. They're going for $25. And I also have a bundle as well where you get like a t-shirt, a journal, devotional, and the book itself for $50.
Got it. Mm-hmm. Hey, LaQuita Lockhart, you are amazing, and a testament of faith and patience as well. So thank you so much for all you have done. It is so appreciated.
I just wanted to thank you, Josh Short, and WNDU Channel 16 for allowing me to come in here and share my story. Thank you for having the archive. Thank you for the team. Thank you for the chief photographer. I just thank you all.
Oh, anytime. We appreciate you.
No problem.
Thank you. And thank you all for listening. Quite the riveting something extra today we have for you. Again, you can listen to this or watch it on YouTube, WNDU.com as well, and wherever you get your podcasts. Something extra. Wow, what a way to end the week. Get that book. It'll teach you some life lessons. I'll tell you that one. Joshua Short with you, signing off. I'll be back next week with Lauren Moss. We will see you then. Stay safe.